All right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 5, up on YouTube Live, streaming later this evening up on Crave. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
What's going on? Lots going on.
I need one thing answered, Hazy, before we get into the program. Watched a bit of The Travelers, and I've had enough. There's guys like Harry Higgs that gets clothes. It says dude wipes on them.
Mm-hmm.
Harry Higgs, our guy. Why is Tommy Fleetwood buying clothes from pro shops? I can't, for the life of me. This guy, he's wearing a Shinnecock.
Yeah, he does it every single place he goes to.
Is that his endorsement that he...
No, he was a Nike guy forever.
Dude,
his deal came up.
Wouldn't somebody jump on... He's got a hat that says Blackstone, and I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that company is.
I don't either. And then he's buying stuff in a pro shop. I can't... We got to broker a deal with Donnie and get him in some Peter Millar and say, you're done.
Yeah,
Enough's
I agree
enough.
with you. Yeah,
Enough's
I agree.
Enough.
It's bizarre, like his whole thing, because, he's a top 10 player in the world. He's a really liked guy, I think he's an influential guy. I've looked at stuff and said, all right, Tommy rocks that. He's a tailor-made guy. We love Tommy. I've played with Tommy. I kind of launched him back into the winner's circle, I'd say, a few years ago at Oakdale. But I agree. Something's got to give, because that's a move that guys like you and I make. When we play at a course we've never been to, we're like, well, we got to grab a hat or a shirt, maybe a quarter zip. This guy's literally living that out as a professional on tour. It's bizarre. So I don't have an answer as to why it's continuing to happen, but I'll try to get to the bottom of that for you. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. Well, we got a big one today. Jim Hiller's coming up in half an hour, right? We got the new head coach of the Maple Leafs. So Jim's going to join us in 30 minutes, and we look forward to having him on the show for the first time because as an assistant, the Leafs, they don't allow assistant coaches to talk publicly. It's only the head coach. So even though he was in our backyard for a long time and obviously very familiar with, I'm sure, our show, but the city and the market and the history, he's coming on for the first time as the head coach of the Leafs. So he'll join us in about a half an hour. And at the presser today, I think John Chayka did the best job he could to sell everyone on the fact that he's not doing anything. It was Morgan Riley's going to be back, and we can't wait. And hey, Stolarz can play tonight.
Routine. It's the Doug Armstrong routine. It's like everyone's available, and then all of a sudden nobody's available. So I don't know which one it is.
And listen, it's the smart play, and from a standpoint of leverage, of course, that goes without saying. But also, deals don't always happen, and you can't sit here on June 25th and say, "Oh, Morgan Riley's done, not coming back. We're doing everything we can to unload this guy," and then you don't find a trade for him, and he's back with the team in September. So you're never going to publicly announce anything. He said a couple different things. The Morgan Riley one, I think, is causing, I'd say, the biggest stir among Leaf fans based on confusion because it has felt like a foregone conclusion that he is going to possibly want to move on, and the Leafs would be more than happy to move on from him.
Well, there's two different things happening.
One thing in here, guys, and we talked about it yesterday. You bring in Radish, you bring in Andre. If Morgan Riley at $7.5 million is slotted a little different on this team, and you also, let's say you make one more move on the back end, it's not like he is an ankle skater. Like, he can skate and move the puck. If they transform their D, and if Jim Healer is like, sure, I like Morgan Riley. I like a guy who can skate and move the puck. Why are you guys moving him again? That's if Morgan Riley doesn't have to be your one, maybe it can be a 2 or a 3 in a revamped defensive core. I don't think they're in a rush to move him. I think they'll find a trade, Brian. But I think at the end of the day, you look at a player. This isn't a guy who's done, who can't play in the National Hockey League. He's a good player. I think people just would like change of scenery. Been here 9 years, all of that other stuff. Right?
Yeah, he's been here. He's the longest-standing Maple Leaf. He really struggled last year.
Yes.
And I think we got into it yesterday. The reason why you would move off Riley, putting aside the realities of pro sports and being in a market for a long time. And again, this isn't Riley demanding out or him saying he doesn't want to be here. That's not what's happening. But a fresh start, feeling like the market is turning on him a little bit too, right?
Yep.
Again, which is different from other scenarios like this where it got pretty loud around Morgan last season. That maybe he'd want to, get out and get away from that and start somewhere else. I think the reason why the Leafs may be in a hurry, which really the hurry is between now and opening night. It doesn't have to happen before the draft or before July 1st because he's got term on his deal, is that if the calculation from Chaika and company is that it's going to get worse, then you got to get out of it now. But if the calculation is we can make it significantly better, then the value can go up on the trade in the future. Or maybe he just settles back in and this is a big storm that passes over and he remains with the Leafs for the remainder of his contract.
All three scenarios you just presented could happen.
Absolutely.
It's just
absolutely.
And there's no calculating which one it's going to be. I don't care how smart a GM thinks. He can't come in and say, if you just do that with that guy, he's going to go on that trajectory. That is impossible. There's only a hope attached to each scenario.
Both ways. Again, Jim Hiller comes in, new D partner, better vibes around the team. He may still not defend very well, right? Like Morgan Rielly is kind of who he is. And the way he has had value in the past, and he's been a very valuable player in the past, has been his skating ability, his ability to make plays with the puck, get up in the offense, put up some numbers, run a first power play that, again, didn't go so well last year. And clearly that's going to be Radish now. So Mo's going to be in a very different position on that front. But, Chaika speaking today, of course that's what he's going to say. Of course he's going to say, no, we're good in goal. Stolarz could play tonight. Okay, of course he's going to. What else is he going to say? We're screwed, like we're in big trouble, and Stolarz is going to start 15 games next year? He's not going to say that. Of course he's not going to say Matthew Knies is the trade chip we're really actively trying to move. Of course he's not going to do that because he doesn't have to. And if you want Matthew Knies, you're going to have to really pay up. That goes without saying. I think we all understand that. It's a smart hockey market. Well, no one's pushing Matthew Knies out of town. That's not what's happening. No one's turning on Knies, but his name has been out there, and you can understand the value. That if you move him and you're going to get significant pieces in return, of course, you're going to contemplate making that trade.
I just got to say this about Matthew Knies, guys. If you extract him from the forward group, so there's William Nylander, and who else is going to be making plays? Like scoring goals, making like winger type plays, finishing hits, getting pucks, taking it to, you know what I mean? Like you take Matthew Knies out of the equation, and we all know what William Nylander can do on a daily basis when he decides he wants to do it. So who after him is? So it's like this idea of Knies leaving. I want to know who's making plays and doing things after that.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. And I think the Knies thing is you can take all the calls you want, but then you'd be looking to replace a 23-year-old big, strong, fast guy who can get 30 goals. I just wanted one last thing on Morgan Rielly here. If his name, and this is what you were talking about, Brian, if his name was Rick Smith and he made $7 million on the open market, and let's call him a 40-point guy, isn't that what teams are kind of looking for? Like if we'll probably see a free agent here in the offseason or a team acquire it. If the Leafs move off of Morgan Rielly, they still have to replace Morgan Rielly. They don't have it in-house. So if you are looking at it, it better be at least a lateral move or an upgrade in that position. And that's where I think John Chaika is saying, we're not in a rush to move Morgan Rielly unless we believe we can upgrade wherever he's going to be slotted.
Right, wherever the domino, if they can get the dominoes to fall the way they want to, then they will be happy to move off Morgan Rielly. And that, the reality is you get 32 players in the game, right? Every team's trying to improve. Every team has assets that they can move. So John Chaika, I'm sure, has an ideal makeup of his offseason. He thinks this guy's available. He's going to get him. He's going to try to sign that guy. I'm sure he's got plan A that he's smart enough to know is not going to happen. Like plan A never happens completely. No one has a perfect offseason the way they want it. It never happens that way. So, I mean, there's a lot. Again, it's being reported. It's very well sourced about the Leafs are, they're active. A lot of teams are active. About whether or not these players have value, don't have value, how many teams might be kicking tires. It's all smokescreen right now. And I guess that's what I'm pointing at. The press conference today, John's up there obviously, announcing Hiller and Hiller coming in, and obviously he's going to be asked about all the other stuff that's out there. But you have to take everything spoken publicly with a grain of salt right now from every GM in the league. Like, no one is going to be that open and honest. And maybe in the end, Nyes is here, Riley's here, and Stolarz is starting opening night. Like, obviously that is possible, but I'll believe that when I see it. That's not a parlay I would put money on.
No.
That those three things happen in October.
And there's a chance that all could change tomorrow.
Yes.
There's going to be wheeling and dealing at the draft, and you just, a player gets thrown in because you want to trade up or trade down, or the trades all happen. But
does wheeling and dealing, Jamie, still happen at the draft? Yeah.
I talk to people all the time that are saying, like, you see those. I mean, we would be in the buildings. You'd see, and we'd be like going, "Oh, look at Berkey walk over and talking to
the
Mark
famous
Bergevin."
One was Dubas with Kyle when he had the double phones cooking. But when's the last time? Like, I honestly think Wendell might have got traded at my draft in Hartford in 90.
Yeah, 94. It was 94 after they went on the 2 runs.
Yeah, it was 94 in Hartford that Wendell Clark got traded to Quebec. I think that happened.
That's right.
Like, when's the last time we saw TV cameras bebopping around saying, "Oh, that guy's talking to that guy"? Wow. Bobby Mack was legend at that.
That was Bobby Mack.
Yeah, Bobby Mack and Dregs would be like, "Oh, so-and-so's calling so-and-so, and there's a delay here," and everyone would be like, "Oh, boy."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was McKenzie that broke that Wendell deal on TSN.
What was the you're going to want to hear this? What was that trade?
That was Jerry in New Jersey.
Yeah, that was in 2013 or something like that.
Bo Horvat.
It was Schneider for the pick, and then they picked Bo Horvat.
That's right.
So it wasn't straight up for Horvat. It was for the pick, and then they took him. So, yeah, obviously, stuff is going to happen, can happen. But I'd ask you guys, like, you bring up a very good point. Like, if Nyes is if he's out, again, they're bringing something back in return. Now, whether it helps them immediately is a legitimate question.
Yeah.
And we had that chat earlier in the week. Do you do it if you want McKenna and Reed and you think that's a grand slam? Those are your 2 top players in the draft, and you feel like you can walk away with both of them.
Right.
Do you do that considering you're 3 or 4 years away from really having them pop? How does that jive with everything else you're doing right now, and you're trying to appease people, including ownership, to try to be competitive again next year? All of those are legitimate questions. But without knowing what's coming back, Nyes coming out, where does McKenna come into play on carrying the load? Like, how much can they expect out of him? And I know a lot of people, like, generally speaking and historically speaking, you'd say, be careful. He's a young guy. It took them about 15 games in Long Island to realize this kid, Schaefer's got to play a ton.
Yeah.
It took about 7 games in San Jose for them to say, well, there's our number 1 center, Celebrini. Just play him. I don't care that he's 18. He's our best player.
I know. But in both
what
situations,
if McKenna shows up and he's a stud right off the bat?
I know. That is totally possible, the way these guys are coming in the league. But I spoke about this last season when talking about Celebrini the year before, or Schaefer in Long Island. Like, if Schaefer had, at Christmas time, 2 goals and 8 assists and was a +2, everyone would be saying, yeah, you know what? He's settling in. He's kind of on the right track to being a great player. Yeah. It would be great if the kid stepped in and did that, like a superstar. Like, Schaefer was a superstar immediately.
Yeah.
He was one of the best, like,
legit top 10 D in the league last year. He was
and I'm telling
good.
you right now, Hayes, if you don't have him in your top 10 and the top 50 list in the fall, you got a problem.
Why am I the guy under attack?
Because I know you're not.
I'm the one that's on. What are you,
you're not
Harold Ballard? We get your finger out of my face.
Because you always come up with a stupid excuse. You're like, he's not ready for the top 10 spot. Like, he's just not. Who are you going to bump out? He's a top 10 guy in the NHL right now, Matthew Schaefer.
He might be.
Where was the argument for Dougie top 10? What was it, top 50?
Top 50 Dougie Hamilton. Yeah. Dougie crept into the top 50.
Hayes is the one who put top 50 Dougie in and took out Ovi.
That's true, and I made a great call. Ovi stunk that year.
No, he didn't, dude. That's the year he scored the record-breaking goal.
Ovi's been floating around looking for goals for years. Yeah. Put me on the record on that. He never.
You cannot.
Dude, here's the thing. That's maybe a little bit aggressive. But there was a stat last year.
Ovi's been floating around for years, this guy just said.
Listen, last year there was an alert that went out. I think it was so shocking it showed up on my phone almost like an Amber Alert. He actually took a draw in his own zone for the first time in like 200 games or something.
Probably his career.
Yeah, it was like this guy, if the puck is on the other side of the red line, Ovi cannot be on the ice for Washington. So that's the point I'm making. I mean, defensively, it wasn't like he was chasing down Selkies.
Yeah, but we'll have to get one of our superiors to get like the top 5 worst transactional moments in the top 50 list. Top 50 Dougie in, Ovi out for you, might take the cake.
I don't remember if I had top 50 Dougie in there.
You did.
But he was in the top 50, though. Like, if I put him there, I wasn't alone. Like 8 or 9 other people did because he was like 38.
All I remember about it
I don't
is
have
you
the
had
power
top
to personally put him in.
I know, but your own list, you had top 50 Dougie in, and you took Ovi out. You're like, nope, Ovi, no Ovi for me.
I made some great cases on that too.
Oh yeah,
I did. Here's the reality: some guys, you're going to have Ovi still on your list after he's retired. Guy's going to be playing in the K, and someone's going to put Ovi in the top 50 out of pure respect. But
I just know that we found another, like, nobody cares what people say in New Jersey.
That one's maybe a bit
floating
extreme.
around for years.
No, looking for goals.
Looking for goals. Basically cherry picking.
Yeah.
You know, that's why Kairu's there, and that's why Alex Tuck is there, because they're trying to, I don't know, give him a little jolt or possibly replace Ovi in the future.
That's a pretty good, tidy bit of business there, though. Like, those 2 players are good players. They already got Strome there. Like, they've got some, you look at that Washington and PLD, like, they're a big team.
Those Protas brothers. Dude, those Protas brothers are.
That Ryan Leonard's going to be a good player.
That's right.
But think of the meat they got, like the size of the Protas brothers are there. Tom Wilson, you add players that have, Tuck is a big guy.
Yep.
Like, they're going to be a big, PLD's a big guy. Like, they're going to be a big, heavy team, that Washington.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that has been kind of how they've been built in the past, and we'll see what they do this upcoming season. But, it's going to be an interesting 24 hours for sure as we get closer to the NHL draft tomorrow night. And Gavin McKenna saying all the right things. Sure. Right? That if it's Toronto, he'd be pumped, and that's what he wants, and he wants to be a villain wherever he plays in the league. And I like that. I like that mentality. This is a guy that he's been preparing to go first overall for a long time. We heard about this kid like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yes. And don't forget, I've said it a bunch of times leading up to the draft. If this kid stayed in Medicine Hat, there would borderline be the Bedard treatment of him last year. Like, with the highlight, he was doing it the year before, like the crazy goals, and he would have got the Bedard treatment in the Canadian Hockey League last year. But it wasn't followed as closely in the NCAA where he went, and there's not as many games, and it did not get off to a great start, and it just didn't have the spotlight down there that it did. But if he was in Medicine Hat, it would have been Bedard watch. Like, look at this kid. Sports Center top 10 every night, and it would have been a whole different kind of build of momentum leading up to the draft. So the Leafs are getting a special player. It's just going to be, like you said, Brian, where is he going to slot in? Who is he going to play with? Is he good enough right away to say, okay, I was in the same position. I was a point-producing high draft pick. But that just doesn't mean that you just show up in the NHL and that happens immediately. You're either a star right away, or you have to go into a third-line role if you're going to play in the NHL and kind of get your confidence, get secondary power play time, and you kind of grow into it. And year by year, Leo Carlsson wasn't like dynamite right off the hop. That kid in Anaheim, he had to grow into it a couple years, and now he's a stud. So there's a bunch of different ways that it can go, but the skill level. It's as good as any.
I thought of the Matthews comparison. Again, different players, different positions. But I remember when Austin went to Europe for his draft year, it was very difficult to calibrate the stats and the numbers over there compared to what it would have been here because, he's playing in a pro league. There's not a lot of offense in Europe. And remember, there were those questions too. You're thinking, okay, yeah, he's very good. He put up good numbers. he had I think he had 36 points or something in his
draft. I remember Mark Crawford. I was doing a hit with him after the lottery, and he was like, because I didn't see a lot of the highlights of Austin Matthews, and he's like, I think he coached him. And he was like, he kind of shoots the puck like Joe Sakic. He's got and I'm like, I don't even remember anything about this guy's shot. And sure enough, this guy's got one of the best shots that's ever played.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And Crow had him over there. A guy named Rob Cookson was his assistant coach. I remember, you forget, you're right, Hayes, you play against men, and the league is different. You don't play as many games. That's why college is different. Like, you have to look at junior with a different veil now, the CHL, because some of the players are going to U.S. colleges. So I was talking to a GM the other day in the Western Hockey League that said the Western Hockey League and the CHL might be more of a development, like a 16 and 17-year-old league now. And then you might see guys that are 18 go to college.
Look at Landon DuPont today, committed to Michigan.
Yeah, and he's a hell of a player. And he's, I played with his dad, Mickey, and he was exceptional status. He's going to go first overall. Like, I believe that, again, talking to Craig Button and people that think he's that special. Mm-hmm. But McKenna, these guys chart their own path. You brought up Carlson. We brought up Celebrini. There's no guarantee, but there also is a chance that if we learned anything from last year, that young players are not afraid of the stage now. Like, this isn't, hey, wade into the league anymore. Mm-hmm. These players just go play.
Well, exactly.
I think the training and the preparation guys start. It's just like golfers that are coming on the tour now. And I've said it for a bunch of years. I think like an amateur is going to go ahead and win a major sooner or later here, because it's like the Tiger Woods effect and the Connor McDavid effect. Like Gary Robertson to Steven Stamkos and to Connor McDavid. And now kids are doing that program. They're starting that at 13 years old. Like the training, nutrition, on the ice, skills coaches. And then you get the kid at 18 years old or 19 years old, and it's like they're ready to play in the NHL because they're prepared for it.
Well, and the league is very different now too, right? There was, like, back in the day, there were animals in the league.
Yes, and that would have killed you.
Yes, and clutching and grabbing was allowed. And if you're an 18-year-old who weighed 170 pounds, it was very tough. Like, obviously, Wayne Gretzky was an exception, but it was probably very difficult. Now the game is much more wide open. You're on the power play way more. You can live in front of the net if you're 18 years old. You couldn't do that 20, 30 years ago. So, it's much more comfortable. But listen, everyone's going to chart their own path. What's important is you got the first pick, you get it right. Pick the guy who's going to have the best career, not the best 25 or 26, 27 season, right? Who's going to have the best career? I ran into Joe Thornton yesterday. Here's a perfect example. At 18 years old, wasn't great in Boston. I'd say they made the right pick in the end. I know they traded him eventually, but you look back on his career, the guy played 1,700 games. He's in the Hall of Fame. Great pick. Yeah. Pretty good pick. He won a Hart Trophy eventually. Yeah. So if it's McKenna, and it sure feels like that's going to be the case, like FanDuel, it's minus 20,000 that he's going to win. So basically they're suggesting that it's a foregone conclusion. If it's McKenna, obviously high hopes for next year. He very well could hit the ground and running. And if that happens, that's a big development for a team that wants to be competitive next year. But as long as he gets there in year 3, 4, 5, 6, and beyond, then it's going to be something you look back on. All right, so we got Jim Hiller coming up. There's a Kawhi Leonard report we want to get to.
No.
We're doing it. We're doing the report.
Okay, you can get sucked into that, using them as leverage. Yeah.
We're doing the report, so we're going to get into that. And the United States is playing Turkey tonight. And the reason I bring that up is because there is an individual that will be covering the match for Fox, and it's linked to both countries. And I'll tell you why, based on 2 pictures. Okay, coming up a little bit later this hour. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050, and up on YouTube Live.
tomorrow on TSN 1050. Tune in for special NHL draft coverage as your Toronto Maple Leafs have secured the #1 overall pick.
And Matt Sundin is smiling ear to ear.
Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Will they select Gavin McKenna? Find out tomorrow.
The building blocks for Stanley Cup champions are put into place.
On TSN 1050, the Leafs live here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
I need you to hold on. Heaven is a place not too far away.
Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I will do that later for my World Cup picks tonight. Did not hit a winner with the Canada match, but big development last night. Canada now playing South Africa and avoiding South Korea and avoiding Czechia altogether. Now you got South Africa on Sunday, and they're a pretty heavy favorite. So I like that idea. And if they get through them, they'll likely play the Netherlands in the round of 16. But you don't want to put the cart too far ahead of the horse. But
you want me to go to the? You want to go to the O-Desk quickly or no?
Do you have something for us? Do you have a breaking story?
I have a bit of a breaking story. Valerie Nichushkin has been traded to the Columbus Blue Jackets from the O-Desk.
Wow. Breaking news. So Colorado moving on.
Colorado's moved some players out. It seems like they're, and obviously, like, you're going to have a change here or there. And that Nichushkin's a hell of a player, but he's had off-ice struggles.
Yes, he has.
It's well documented. But I look at a Russian player going to Columbus. Now you've got, three
They've
or
got
four
a number of them,
there.
like really good Russian players there. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So Columbus getting active, and people wondering what else they could do this offseason. Well, we saw the Leafs, obviously, they've been active as well. And last week they announced their new head coach, and we saw him over Zoom last week. We saw him today down at Scotiabank, and now he joins the show as the new head coach of the Maple Leafs. Here's Jim Hiller. How you doing, Jim?
Okay.
All right. We'll see if we can get him back.
It's on mute.
That's a good start. Maybe the Leafs are making a deal, and he said, I got to throw these guys on mute because Chaika just walked in with some
Doogie, when
sort of
he
an
calls
announcement.
back, if he's not there, Hayes is going to do the new meme,
No.
the basketball pointing meme.
Sophie Cunningham. The Sophie Cunningham.
That meme is getting more.
That was awesome.
It's everywhere. It's a great meme. It really is.
It is everywhere.
It's a great meme. Yeah, I might have to give Doogie the Sophie Cunningham if we don't get Jim Hiller. We'll see if we can get him back on the line here. But, yeah, that's an interesting move. That is an interesting move where it does make you wonder, the Zach Werenski stuff.
Yes.
It's out there. He's got 2 years left on his deal. He's obviously locked in Columbus, and he's their man, and he won the Norris last year.
Dude, that would be so crushing if that guy says, check, please. Like, if you look at the players in the past, I think it was Ryan Johansson. Rick Nash left.
Matt Duchene.
All of them.
Panarin.
It's like, it would
Seth
be so
Jones.
crushing.
I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, it would be so terrible if Zach Werenski says,
Yeah.
But I guess there's only one thing. Like, from what I hear, I talk to the guys, and it's like they love it, but they want a chance to win. And it's like Zach Werenski's in that boat where it's like he wants the chance to win.
Yeah. Okay, let's see if we can go back to the phones here. Here's the head coach of the Maple Leafs, Jim Hiller. You got us, Jim.
I got you, yeah.
Yes. Great to catch up with you. Thank you for doing this.
Hey. You guys got me. That's more important.
That's right.
I got you. You got me.
Exactly. Are you keeping up to date? You must be with everything that's going on in the league right now. What's it like from your standpoint? Head coach of the Leafs, one of 32 teams, but it seems like every team in the league is trying to make moves right now.
There is action out there. This is great for you guys. I know we talk about this every year, and there's going to be moves leading up to the draft, and oftentimes it never happens, and now we have a year like this. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
But I have been a little slow on the draw, I'll be honest, because I'm wrapped up in my own thing here. So usually I'm a little more dialed into that, but it's been exciting.
It sure has been, and like you said, you got your own thing going here. You're back where you're very familiar. You obviously were a part of the staff for a number of years, and you're back in Toronto. And I heard you last week. I heard you again today, speaking on the spirit of the team and the importance of that. And I'm curious if you can elaborate on that for us, Jim. Like, how does the head coach establish the spirit of the team?
Well, I don't know that you can establish it on your own. I think you just understand it and try to help it along. Try to do things in certain ways with the team or individuals, or celebrate different moments or emphasize different moments. I mean, it really is. It's kind of a nebulous thing, but anybody who's played sports and a team level sports, has had the realization at some point that, how did we get here? Like, we were a good team, but I didn't realize we were this good. And there's something that takes over during those years that you get on those types of runs, and I would call it the spirit. You become bigger than the sum of your parts, and there's a special thing that kind of carries you through. And so that's really, what I want to try to emphasize and try to work towards building with this team out of the gate.
Jim, as far as what the team needs moving forward for next season, as far as personnel, how do you, what's the most important feedback for you? Is it tape of last year, or was it people in hockey, what they say about the team, or feedback from players as far as what needs to be happen? What's the most important factor for you, and I guess the general manager, on what needs to happen moving forward?
Well, I would say all of the above. First of all, professional athletes get a lot of pride, and this team has done, very well over the last 7 years since 2 years, 3 years in the playoffs, and 2 years to Game 7, didn't get the result. So there's been a long string of, I guess, at least regular season success. And what happened last year, I think, nobody feels good about. And so there's a starting point for sure. There's a lot of players in the room who are well-established, NHL players, very elite in some of their positions, and you can spread that through the lineup. You can talk about a Chris Tanev who, would be classified as one of those elite shutdown defensemen. So it's not just the players you think about who score all the goals. There's a lot of players in there with a lot of pride. So, I think that's a starting point for them without me at all. But I watched the league. I've been gone for a long time. I've seen the ups and downs of the team. And so I just think that's something that we have to start. We got to start from, scratch with the spirit and just build it back up. And I think that's what's so exciting, to be able to try and do that in this market.
Jim, you're familiar with some of the star players you mentioned, but you had them when they were 20 and 21, and now you've got Austin and Willie and John is 35 years old. Is it a different approach? Certainly the relationship is there, but is it a different approach now? They're kind of, we'll call them grizzled vets.
Yeah, I think it will be, but I think I go back to the relationship and that being critical, even though the approach will be different. And, I've watched them from afar. I've stayed in touch with those guys. I've seen some of their great moments. I've shot them text screenshots of some of the plays they've made where I've been impressed. So I think they just know who I am personally. So that gives us a running start. But there's no question their games have evolved and gotten to where they are now, and they have to continue. But I think knowing that we're starting from a place of trust, I think that gives me an advantage in helping them to push and try to achieve something even more.
We're chatting with Jim Hiller, the new head coach of the Maple Leafs. And, when you were here a number of years ago, Austin Matthews was not the captain of the team. He is now the captain of the team. And I'm curious, what you need from him in particular to get your message across and to establish, the spirit that we continue to talk about here. How much of the onus, begins with Austin and his approach?
Well, I mentioned this before. First of all, everybody has to, in the NHL today, if you want to have success as a team, everybody has to check and work without the puck. It's just a prerequisite. It's too competitive otherwise. So if you don't do that, you don't have a chance. So that doesn't get a lot of people excited, but it is the baseline of any good team. Now, what I would say to Austin and the other players on the team is, when we do have the puck, we have to get really excited and embrace and celebrate playing offense. We gotta let the skill and these amazing players, the talent that they've shown us, creating some or a lot of goals, not just highlight reel goals. We got to really embrace and celebrate that again. So we'll demand the part one, the baseline, but I think we really will try to emphasize and work on, and maybe a better word is celebrate, in different ways as a team, getting back to scoring goals and being dangerous. And I think Austin is the epitome of that.
So in terms of celebrating that offense, like what do you mean by that? The way you utilize them, the way you emphasize the power play, who they play with, like what can you expand on that? Like celebrating the offense.
Well, it's all those things. It's all those things, but it's also in practice. It's also through our video sessions. It's in any ways that we can highlight and emphasize and show just the passion and the skill and the creativity required to score those types of goals or create those types of chances. So I want to make sure that, yes, we're banging on our structure and our defensive game and our play without the puck, but I want to give equal time and equal respect to the great talents that we have and try to make it, fun and exciting and a priority, not just to be good defensively, you have to be, but to score goals and to see, guys kind of get that touch again. But I do agree that starts with the power play. I really believe that. I believe the power play can really help those players get their touches, drive the 5-on-5 offense, get them feeling good about that.
Jim, I find myself asking this question a lot to coaches like yourself. Like, does it surprise you how often to hear yourself, you just said the word structure, and other coaches saying we need to get back to our structure in the details? Like, it just seems like, back in the days when I played, it was like you play this way and it's non-negotiable, and now these guys seem to want to go off the tracks quite easily. Do you not find that, where it's like this stuff needs to be drilled into them almost on the daily?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly a drilled in, and I think people understand it, but it's just committing to it day after day, night after night, and it's a drag. And I don't know at time. I don't know that 10 years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago, that it was as critical as it is today, because the other teams, have pretty elaborate defensive structures that make it so hard to create offense. You have to make sure you're matching that. So when you do create offense or you have that opportunity, you don't need 6, because it's pretty hard to score 6 in the league these days. You might only get to 3. So it's hard to get to 3. So you can't try to get to 6 by giving up 4 or 5. It just doesn't work. So I think that's why you'll hear a lot of coaches saying that a lot, is because just where the league is at, if you don't have that, you'll never outscore it. You just won't. And so ultimately you're going to be disappointed.
Jim, do you think it's important for a coach to be working closely with the manager for not only roster construction, but the type of players that you would like to coach within your system and structure that you've been talking about?
I think it's more important than ever. And not just for that reason. I just think it's more important than ever because, for me, the manager and the management has to understand exactly the style of play, exactly what and I don't think this happened necessarily before, exactly what the systems are. There has to be a review, of course, with the players, but I think also management coaches, regular review about how, why, and what certain players are performing, and good discussion on that. I don't think that was really that critical in the past. I don't know when it's changed, but I do believe now today more than ever that group of people, the coaches, the management, particularly the head coach and the GM, have to understand, because I'm sure there'll be times when John's, not questioning, but wondering why we're doing this. I'll be very clear on this is the logic behind it. This is why. And so at least there's an understanding between both parties what's trying to be accomplished. And again, I don't think that was as necessary before. Today, I think it's critical.
When you say not necessary before, do you mean like the Leafs last season or the way the league has operated in the past?
Yeah, I think the way the league's operating. There's always been a level of that for sure, But I just mean like it's that you're so in lockstep that that is just very clear. And then I think that gives the management a better idea of maybe the type of player, to the earlier question, the type of player to acquire, why some players maybe are having less success in a certain style or situation, because these are the details that are demanded. So I just think it's really important that everybody is aligned with the style of play, the player evaluation. There's different ways to evaluate players nowadays. We're really clear on that. There's analytics, which is one way to evaluate players. There's maybe coaches use a different, and I won't say that they don't use analytics, but maybe it's done in a different way, or the emphasis is on different types of numbers. And so I just think that everybody has to understand each other's point of view, so that not necessarily that you're agreeing all the time, but you understand where both sides are coming from. And I just think there's a lot of information, and the communication between the coach and the general manager is critical.
With Jim Hiller, so you guys have the first overall pick tomorrow night, and John said today, keeping the pick, there's consensus on the pick. I think we all know who you're going to take. We know you're not going to tell us, but how does that affect your plan for next year? Where, first overall pick, the hype, the market, there's a lot that comes with that. How do you intend on coaching a first overall pick next year?
And you can tell us if you want.
Well,
yeah, you can't tell us who you're picking if you'd like. Sure.
Sure. Well, let's put it this way. I mean, I was here when we had the good fortune of the last time we took a first overall pick, and that was Austin. Now he came in and he scored four goals. I don't have to tell you the history.
Yep.
So I've had experience with that. Now, every player, every first overall pick that rolls into town is not the same, and we know that. It's either position or size and strength, physical maturity at that time. They all get there, but they get there at different rates sometimes. So we're just going to have to see. Like, we're extremely excited. We know we're going to get a very talented player, and let's just see exactly where that player fits in. We want him to succeed, but we want to make sure it's at the right pace and at the right time. We know it's going to be a terrific player, but let's just do our best to balance it. And again, I would go back to lots of conversation between the coach and the manager and players and line mates and teammates, and just making sure that we're doing this together. And I would say that was the case with Austin back in the day.
We'll get you out of here with a question on, filling out the staff. What type of requirements do you have for filling out your staff?
Well, I'll take you back to Lou Lamoriello, who's obviously a mentor of mine. And Lou said it best, it's just like a band. And, you got to try to make sure everything's in tune. You can't have two electric guitar players. You can't have two guys on the bass, two drum. You got to try to make it balance itself out. So I'm going through that process right now. I've talked to quite a few people. I think much like John and Matt's, they were very thorough in their process. I think that's kind of an organizational motto right now. And so they've encouraged me to be that way, and I have. And we're starting to get there. But there's still some different ways to think about it. It's not really just black and white. This guy will do this, and this guy does this. It's how do people complement each other, my skill set, and how can I get people to balance that out? So long-winded answer to say we're working on it.
Okay, sounds good. Well, you got a lot of time. First game's not for quite some time. So welcome back to town, Jim, and best of luck throughout the summer, and we'll catch up again in the fall. Thank you for doing this.
You got it anytime, guys, and I look forward to speaking more with you.
Absolutely. Jim Hiller, the new head coach of the Maple Leafs.
You won't talk to us again for the rest of the year.
See you guys. Talk to you at the year end next year.
It's always the best. You could get literally, name someone. Tiger Woods could come and be like, "Yeah, guys, let's do it again real soon." You're not coming on again, Tiger.
No, never.
Like, we'll never see you
We'll
again.
We'll have to call the PR person and say, "Here's a clip."
Yeah.
He said, "Look forward to talking
Can't
to
wait.
you guys."
Anytime. We could call him tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
He said anytime. We could give him a shot tomorrow.
You mentioned at the starting of the show, and I wanted to say something, too, about it. Why is it that the assistant coaches don't get to talk? We got to get into that after the break.
Yeah, it's a leaf policy. It's a great question. You're right, though, Noodles. It's just always it wasn't always the case. Assistants used to talk all the time. It's when Shanahan showed up. Everything
we talked
changed.
to Spotter. Spotter was on our show once a week.
I used to do shows back in the day. I'd have Pooley on all the time when he worked with the Leafs. Claude Loisel would come on all the time. All right.
Yeah.
Johnny coming up. Jay's back in action. That was a tough one last night, man. They're one step forward, 2 steps back for the Jays.
Amateur hour mistakes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're defensively, they're terrible. Fundamentally, they're really struggling right now. So more on that. The Kawhi Leonard report, we'll get into it. Tracking the World Cup. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
On TSN 1050. Tune in for special NHL draft coverage as your Toronto Maple Leafs have secured the #1 overall pick.
And Matt Sundin is smiling ear to ear.
Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Will they select Gavin McKenna? Find out tomorrow.
The building blocks for Stanley Cup champions are put into place.
On TSN 1050. The Leafs live here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Mike Johnson coming up in the next hour. We'll talk about Kawhi Leonard and what could happen with his future. Big trade in the NBA today, too. LaMelo Ball traded to Minnesota. Jays back in action tonight. 2 games under 500, still in a wild card spot because the American League, outside of a few teams, stink.
Yeah.
And I know people are tough on Hoffman. I get it last night, but that sounds like it was Okamoto that jammed them last night because he thought, the pickoff play was coming from Kirk and it came from Hoffman. It cost him the game last night, but
Urias at second base was as bad. Ridiculous.
You cannot.
Dude,
the base running was absurd last night. They have more errors than any team in the American League. Their fielding percentage, obviously, is the worst in the American League. Their base running mistakes are crazy.
And, dude, after the hitting last year, that was what they would pride themselves on that. And they're just they're not doing either thing.
They won 94 games. You can't win 94 games without being a complete team.
Right.
You look at the best defending team in baseball today, the LA Dodgers. They hit, they pitch, but they defend incredibly well. Least amount of errors committed in the major leagues, LA Dodgers. So, the Jays have got to clean a lot up, man. They're halfway through the year now. They've got to smarten up. Hour 2 coming up. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 5.
This is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Hour 2 OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Mike Johnson here in a few moments. We'll get into this Kawhi Leonard report later this hour. Get a consensus on that. We'll get to.
Dude, I can't believe you're even going down that alley. Like, it's just so pathetic that you of all people are going to buy into
Kawhi.
him.
I have a take. I have a take on it. I'll tell you about my take.
It's leverage, and it's a complete joke. You know that he's just trying to get in the Steve Ballmer's antennas up to say, oh, that old girlfriend's over there, and maybe he's going to head over there. And then he's going to pay him some more, and it's just so stupid and ridiculous. I can't even believe you would buy into it for a second.
Well, listen, I'm not buying in that it's
Couldn't
going to happen.
Couldn't he have the decency to go to some, like, say the Lakers? Like, just leave us out of it. Have some decency. You could have said the Lakers.
So
yeah, but what about the player? Would you take Kawhi the player, not the
Jamie, I know he's
that.
not coming here. I know this game. This game already happened once.
I'll take the player. Sorry, I like the player.
No, I know, but look at Dum Dum nodding right now. He's like, yeah, I want him too. He's not coming here, guys. He's not.
Jake Fisher, who has been reporting on the NBA for a long time. I wouldn't say he's exactly Shams Charania or Woj of yesteryear, but he's a fairly connected guy. Has reported that Kawhi, his first plan is to stay with the Clippers. Right, that's I think what he wants to do is stay in LA. But if that doesn't materialize, he would be open to returning to Toronto.
Oh, he's not.
And the Raptors would be open to that return.
Oh, of course. There's mutual interest. Somebody, I guarantee you, somebody just called somebody, an equipment manager, and said, do you think the Raps would be interested? And the guy would be like, oh, yeah.
Well,
so now there's mutual interest. Yeah, okay.
That is most certainly a leverage play. I'm not disputing your read on the situation. Listen, you can say a lot of things about Kawhi. He is a brilliant negotiator. He had fake tree companies paying him money. All right?
Tens of millions, dude.
Like this guy, Kawhi knows what he's doing, man. Yeah. He came up to Toronto. He played it beautifully. He played great. He left them hanging. He had the Lakers thinking that he was coming there. And everyone fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Next thing you know, he's in L.A. He got his guy Paul George there. He got re-upped even though he barely played. He hasn't won anything in L.A. like with the Clippers. They have not done anything with Kawhi being there. And he's not a young guy. He left 7 years ago. Kawhi's in his mid-30s now, and he's never going to play anything close to 80 games. Last year I'm looking at his numbers. He played 65 games. And he was really good. So, do I think this is a smokescreen to get Steve Ballmer and the tree companies to pony up? Probably the case. Yes. Do I think all of a sudden he's pining to get back to Toronto so he can redeem the Kawhi and Dine, vouchers that he got 7 years ago? No, I don't think so. But would I love to see him play here? Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that.
I know.
Yeah, I think
you are.
Yes, because you know what would happen? Here's what would happen. Because I am retire the number. I'm anti-statue for Kawhi.
Oh, my God. Now you're going to go down the trophy lane?
If he comes back.
The statue?
If he comes back and retires a Raptor and plays 3 or 4 years. They were a playoff team this year, right?
Yeah.
If it's not LeBron going back to Cleveland, clearly it's not the same. And
ask Johnny what he thinks of this ploy, because he's a smart enough guy. He knows.
It's being reported he wants to stay in L.A. So even if he did come to Toronto, people would be like, here we go. It's because you didn't get your way. That's why you just, agreed to come here, or you were forced to come here. So I don't even know how he would sell it. But I also know Kawhi doesn't care about selling it. Kawhi doesn't care what anyone thinks. He doesn't care about selling anything. But if he came back for 3 or 4 years and retired a Raptor, pushed them deep into the playoffs, number 2's up in the Raptors.
Yeah,
number
but
2.
Also load management, and he's probably.
You know who else I'd welcome into town? Uncle Dennis. Get back in. Get back over here, pal, for a bro hug. Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst.
Can you talk to these idiots, Johnny? Tell them what Kawhi's trying to do here for the second time, please. They're too dumb to figure it out.
Clearly, he's trying to feign interest elsewhere to suggest he might go to a different team, to get the team he really wants to go to say, okay, I guess we better pony up a little bit more. That's okay.
Okay.
But let's just say the Clippers hold the line. Like, no, okay, go ahead. We're done with you. Go ahead. Like, not because it's him, but if he's good, and he was good last year, and you could take 80% of the game. If you take 64 games a year and he plays the way he played last year for a couple of years, I don't care about retiring jerseys. He just makes the Raptors much better. So I like that because I want the Raptors to be better. But Hayes, if you were to ask him, where do you think on career milestone goals having a number retired in Toronto ranks? I gotta believe he could care less about statues, jerseys, or anything related to Toronto.
Let me ask you this part. Let me ask you this part. Do you not think that Kawhi Leonard deserves his number in the rafters and a statue out front for his performance to winning the title? I do. Go ahead.
Not a chance in the world. No.
Thank you.
I do not.
You're disgusting.
Thank you.
You're just like him. You're disgusting.
He plays 1 year. Like, we can recognize him. If there's in my hierarchy of recognition, statue out front or Legends Row is the creme de la creme. Then jersey, then Ring of Honor. I don't know if the Raptors even have a Ring of Honor, but if they did, I'll give you that. I'll give you a recognition on the Ring of Honor. But he's not getting his jersey retired. He played 80 games. No. I know they won their only championship with him, but there's just not enough time.
Right.
I'm not discounting his greatness and his role. It's just not enough.
You want to know how this idiot brought me into this show when we first started working together? He goes, this is Jeff O'Neill. His statue on Legends Row is in Barrie. That's how far away it should be.
I thought it was in Guelph. All the way down.
No, he said Barrie.
Going north.
Said Barrie. Yeah,
going north.
Barrie.
It goes up to 400. Yeah, I said you'd be around Barrie. That's when they get to your statue. And the team's been around for 100 years. But here's my last thing on Kawhi. You know why I actually am not jilted or bitter about this, or I would not be bitter about him returning? Because he won when he was here. And like when you hear other players, like we've had it with former Leaf players. This guy might think about coming back. How would you feel? And those scenarios, sometimes I'm like, I don't want that guy to come back. Like, it's done. It's been buried. It didn't work. You didn't win when you were here and you left. Get out of here. I don't need a redemption tour. I wouldn't look at it that way with Kawhi. I wouldn't look at it like, oh, man, he's throwing us a bone because he left us. It would be like a continuation of the celebration 7 years later. Like, hey, man, when you were here, it was incredible. You won. It was the greatest season in the history of the franchise. Come on back. That's how I would feel about it. Open arms for Kawhi.
Wow.
And so listen, open arms for any player that'll make you better. How about it? And the thing about Kawhi, I think sort of everyone came into the 1 year relationship with their eyes wide open. Like, he didn't pull the rug out. I mean, he might have been leveraging deals and trying to get, but like everyone knew he wanted to leave after a year, but he's going to play his butt off when he's here. And he did. So you can't sort of hate him because he was upfront about it. I think everyone who needed to know was aware of what was likely going to happen.
That's right.
And keep in mind here, folks, though, on this particular show, we did the OJ watch. We did the Kawhi watch when he was driving down the Gardner and went to like the Hazelton Hotel, I think, in Yorkville, wasn't it?
Hazelton won. Yeah.
Yes, we went right down Yorkville. Yeah, it was quite a watch.
We were like scorned girlfriends watching, like and then he got on the bird and got the hell out of here and left and never came back. So I don't know. There is that.
It was a rough way to go out. Like, it literally the first time ever, I think, a guy's won a championship and said, "We'll see you later." Like, I'm out of here. It was a tough pill to swallow.
But he had the decency to go to a Jays game and act like he was
That
all
was
happy.
cool. Remember, we saw him at Home Depot. We're like, a lot of people caught him at Home Depot, I think it was.
He was getting to leave.
To pack his stuff.
Do you remember the other one? His girlfriend or his wife or whatever, they were down at Niagara Falls taking in the falls.
That's right. Yeah, a little family trip. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I know how that combo went. He was like, we better go show the kid the falls before we get out of here because we ain't ever coming back.
Go again.
Well, maybe they come back this time. Maybe 7 years later. It's all good.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, we're trying to dissect the John Chaika presser today, where it sounds like Morgan Riley's going to return. Anthony Stolarz is prepared to start about 55 games next year. And Matthew Nyes couldn't possibly give up him. Obviously, smoke screens. Obviously, he's not going to lay out his plan publicly. But what are you buying? What are you selling in terms of what is being reported in the rumor mill when it comes to the Maple Leafs over the next couple of weeks?
I'm buying Stolarz wanting to play 55 games and the team wanting him to play 55. I don't know if I'm buying whether his body will let him, but I can see them sort of in there mapping out the year. Stoli, to be clear, 3, 50.
John didn't say that. I'm putting words in his mouth. Like he didn't literally say that. I just want to clarify that. Go ahead.
But I think it's like having Stoli be the number one starter and play a low starter share, which is 50 games. Like I think that would be what they would like to map out. I buy that. Morgan Riley returning. If he gave I read that he'd given up 4 Western Conference teams that he might be willing to go to. Maybe John Chaika is just preparing the market for no move if it doesn't work out, and Morgan Riley coming back. I would imagine that's not what they would like to happen. You don't approach a guy with a no move to waive it without the intention of moving him. You don't bother going through the process unless you intend and are willing and sort of want to move him. So he might be coming back, but I don't think that's what they want to have happen. And that's nothing against Morgan Riley, who's just the best guy ever. But I think both parties were going to move on. The Matthew Nyes one to me is interesting, guys. And, we've talked about it at length, and we throw his name out in trade proposals, not because we think he's not good, not because he's not amazing, not because the Leafs don't want him, but because he was available in some capacity at the deadline. And given the prices for good young players, you have to be willing to look at anything. And he would be a guy that every team in the league would want. So if you could address 5 other needs for one guy, you would want to do it. I think they absolutely do not want to trade Matthew Nyes, but they absolutely would not be doing their job if they're not going to listen to San Jose say, we'll give you the 2nd overall and this, and like whatever it might be for him. So you don't want to trade him. But you're not. Gretzky wasn't off limits. Matthew Nyes certainly is not off limits. Anyone can be dealt for the right price. Even if you're not shopping him, you're listening to calls, as you should, as you have to.
Absolutely. The name Vinny Trocheck has been out there, dating back to the trade deadline. And it sounds as if the Rangers are open to moving off him. He's got a new agent now, maybe trying to gain some control on where he could end up going. What kind of value do you see in him? Because the Leafs have been linked to that pursuit to an extent.
He's a good player, Vinny Trocheck. I mean, he can do a lot of things quite well. And he has still 3 more years, right? At a very reasonable number. He is getting up there in age. What is he, mid-30s, 30, 32, 33 now? So he would be great. If you're looking for a transition plan for a few years to kind of have like Tavares be a 3C or maybe be a winger or whatever, Trocheck coming in as your second-line center for a couple of years with Austin as your number 1. Very good defensively, very good on faceoffs, plays well with other good players. So presumably he had great chemistry with Panarin. Could he create that chemistry with Nylander? Whatever it might be. Yeah, but he would cost a lot. At 5'6", Hayes, for that kind of player, don't you think first-rounder plus to get him out of there and have him agree? He has a modified no trade, so he'd have to agree to come to Toronto, which I don't know if he would. But don't you think he'd be first plus a pretty good prospect or something, a pretty good player to get him out of New York? But he'd make your team better, and he would make sense in Toronto.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He would be, but and small layer, maybe it's 5%, but you have to make sure the intention of an American player wanting to come to Canada, all that type of stuff. I mean, that has to be factored in nowadays, given the temperature, and we see that. But, Johnny, I wanted to more look at kind of the bottom of the roster a little bit. When you think of a guy like Nick Robertson, I think he needs a contract. You look at, situations like that, like, what do you make? Like, he's a real, I think, a fascinating case study for me because he's not 19 anymore, but when given opportunities, he has been able to show that he can score some goals. Do you think it's just as easy to, try and bridge him, get a couple-year deal and see what you have there, or would you move on from him?
Depends how you see your team look in Noodles, right? Like if your third line's going to be an attacking sort of, we're going to be a good defensive line because we're going to have the puck and try to take advantage of premium matchups. Well, Nick Robertson has scored, even in his limited role, largely 5-on-5, like a 20-goal a year pace. I love throwing out the 5-on-5 points per 60, and he's like second or third on the Leafs. Goals per 60, he's second to Austin. That's not to suggest you put him on the first line, he'll have the same rate. He won't. He won't score 40. He's not. But if you want a bit of dash lower in your lineup as opposed to a bit of meat, he's totally worth it. And I don't know what his, take him to arbitration. What did he get? 4.25? Something like that. 3.75. I could live with 2 arbitrations in a row and just kind of kick the can down the road and see how it works out, depending with the new coach and Austin and Styles and GMs and all that. But I'm not giving him away. Goals are hard to come by. He's far from a perfect player, but he can do things about putting the puck in the net that the Leafs will need to be done. And I think the way on to play is putting the puck in the net. So I would not extend him long term. What is the circus?
Nick Robertson being scratched, in, out, all that stuff. Like, it's a circus.
Well, I mean, you got Michelli there too, right? Like, what are you going to do with him?
Yeah.
Like, do you want both those guys, one guy? I mean, circus
Absolutely
for him
not.
personally, I guess. Oh, okay. So if you're gonna get rid of Michelli, like, then you definitely are going to keep Robertson. Like, you need offense. And while it's a circus for Nick, you played long enough, right? I'm trying to think of a player like a tweener player. Like, he's not really a checker, but he's probably not quite good enough to be a top 6 scorer. And so he does a bit of both and sort of miscast in each, but still a good NHL player. And he's always sort of shuffling, trying to find, and maybe on a worse team, he gets that top 6 role, Bobby McMahon. But on a good team, he can't. And then he ends up in Toronto in and out of lineup, and it's hard on him. But I'm not going to give him away because life's hard on him. Like, he's done well in that role. I'm going to challenge him to keep doing well, and I'm going to keep him around.
Yeah, like, my assessment of him is that he can do some incredible things with the puck. He can fly down the wing and rip home a goal. Takes incredibly stupid penalties. Makes some really goofy decisions really stupid penalties. Like, minute left in the period of a 2-2 game, he'll slash somebody. I'm not going to get into the details. And he has a difficult time contributing anything to the game if he's not scoring a goal. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't really, like, get on his horse and get on the forecheck and cause turnovers, does not run anybody over. And at times, the decision-making and defensive play is gonzo. So does he score enough where he's a value?
Is a swing guy like that you can put in and out of the lineup in case of injury, in case of slump, in case of message sending, worth having around?
Right.
Part of it also might be if they get Vinny Trocheck, then they got 3 scoring lines. If his centerman is, Bo Groulx or Jacob Quillen, respectfully, you're probably not going to get a lot out of him in that role, right? Like, they're not going to generate very much. So maybe you're better off getting, another more physical, traditional checker. It sort of depends on how you envision the third line playing, because that's where he likely would be slotted. And we never ever talk about Michelli, but they do have to sort of, I think he's an RFA, right? Still, they have to figure out what they want to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got to figure that out.
25 years old.
With Mike Johnson. So I was talking about McDavid today, and how I guess he caught up with Rashog. He caught up with Sportsnet, I believe, and did a couple of interviews about, why Mike Babcock's the right coach and why he's such an advocate for it. And I don't recall the last time a player has been so associated with the pursuit of a coach ever. I mean, I can't think of anyone.
Mike Keenan?
Maybe. So that's
Rangers?
30 years. Yeah,
32 years ago? I'm just like, I don't know, off the top of my head, maybe? I don't know.
Like, isn't this, like, what is at stake for him, McDavid, the Babcock experience? Because he's not playing the, hey, they run the team, I play game. Like, he's not doing that. He's basically saying, I chose Mike Babcock and they hired him. That's kind of my read on the situation. How much is he risking in all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the correct read, although I do believe if he said not a bloody chance I'm playing for Mike Babcock, he would not have been hired. Like, I don't know if he made them hire him, but he could have made them not hire him had he said no way. I believe that, given how much power he has. The way Connor, and I even think historically, like let's say it flames out, it goes awful, whether the team does poorly, Connor ends up with 86 points and they don't do well, or worst case scenario, Mike Babcock doesn't make it through a whole year because something happens. Like I think people will look at Connor saying and they will look at him through a positive lens in that he's so desperate to win. He'll try anything, including hiring a guy that he knows is not going to be easy on him, or maybe a lot of people who has a past that is checkered to say the least. And he's willing to do that. And they look at him that way, Hayes, like, look at how bad he wants it. And as opposed to look at the bad decisions he's making because he wants it so bad. Like, I don't think it goes down that road, but they are for sure linked. And whatever success they have or lack of success, it'll be sort of Mike Babcock, the coach, and the leadership group led by Connor McDavid that wanted him. And if it goes great, they're geniuses. If it goes poorly, they got some egg on their face and some, not explaining to do, but whatever the fallout of that is. And maybe that's Connor leaving Edmonton. Who knows? But that's probably maybe part of it too. Like, he's like, I got 2 years. Let's find out if we haven't had something quite like this. Let's try it, see if it works. And if it does, great. If not, I'm off somewhere else.
Johnny, McDavid's got, you just mentioned 2 years. Austin Matthews, 2 years. Like, do you think that both teams are just kind of rolling the dice with those guys? Because it seems like everybody else with 2 years, it's like you think you're going to be signing next year, and if you're not, we're going to move on from you to optimize the value. Do you just think that, like, how do you think things – we haven't really heard from Austin Matthews. There was some noise about 2 months ago, and then it died down. How do you think the scenario is going to play out with 34, just heading into this season and in the future?
I think the Leafs are not going to go the Quinn Hughes route because I guess Austin didn't say I'm leaving for sure. So he's like, I got to figure out based on how we're doing, how I'm doing, what happens. And the Leafs are basically saying, we're going to convince you to stay because we're going to be good. We're going to do the things that you would like.
How careless is that approach, Johnny, to say, oh, we're going to promise you we're going to be good, and you make a bunch of very expensive transactions to try to do that, and then it doesn't work out, and then he goes, screw this, I'm out of here. Like, how is that not careless kind of behavior to be running a hockey team like that?
You don't have to hypothesize this. That's Vancouver. Just look at Vancouver. That's exactly what happened. They signed Demko and Besser, and they brought all these guys and gave them term to try to keep Quinn Hughes around. Quinn Hughes left. Team's the worst team in the league, and now they're on a 7-year rebuild. Financially for the team, I think like the ownership of the team likes the idea of Austin being around for as long as possible, maintaining that competitive edge that they would have because he's there, and will prolong the time required to rebuild as long as possible. I think, I think that's like an ownership thing, not even we talk in hockey terms. I think they're talking also in business terms.
Yeah. What do you think Austin Matthews has to bring to the table as a player to say, you guys have done your behind-the-scenes transactional stuff, and this is what I'm going to bring to the table as a player to help this process along? What do you see as a successful season from the captain?
Well, I mean, it starts with being healthy. I'm not privy to his medical records.
Let's assume he is healthy. I don't know,
like his version of healthy or his earlier version of healthy. They might be two different things.
I'm talking as healthy as me. Perfectly healthy.
Oh, specimen. Okay. All right. Well, then I think he's got to score 50 goals. He's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 goal scorers in the league. He's got to get 90 points, and he's got to carry play at 5-on-5. I don't care who he plays with. I don't care what system they play. That's what he's got to do if he's healthy, and that would be a good year for him. And if he does that, guess what? The Leafs are going to make the playoffs. Like they will. With the changes they're going to make and better health from their goalies, they'll make the playoffs if he can do that. I don't know if he can do that. I'm not sure about his health, but I think the point you're making is a good one. The onus is not just on the team to make changes, revamp the roster, change the coach, change the system. It's also on the players, led by Austin Matthews, to take all that stuff and maximize it by playing incredibly well. And he'll have to do that.
Just to clarify, You're saying if Matthews is Matthews again, they're going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Who's coming out?
Okay. All right.
Who's coming out of the playoffs in the Atlantic?
Well,
I think
if
Ottawa
Florida
can take a step back.
We're not
Florida
looking
will
at the
jump
negatives, Jamie. We're looking at the positives now, aren't we? Yeah.
I love that take, Johnny.
It's a great
What's
take,
Tampa going to be?
You know,
What's Tampa going to be? No Victor Hedman. Like a lot of things that went. Like even I've said like re-rack Toronto's team last year as bad as it went. Put them like right on the ice again. I bet they're almost an 8 spot. Like everything that went and the fact that they mailed it in the last 20 games. Like they mailed it in.
Right.
Like once they were out the last 10, 12, no one goes 2-10 down the stretch if it matters. Right? They're out and they mailed it in. So I think if Austin Matthews is a Hart finalist caliber player, Hazy, I think they make the playoffs.
I love it.
If their goaltender doesn't and if their goalie stays remotely healthy. Yeah, for sure.
I you know what? It's a great thing, but I would like to see more D and defense and more players too. It's not just Austin Matthews having a great season. They need a lot.
20 million in cap
space.
space.
What about the D-man? What about the D-man from Philly,
players.
Jamie?
Emil Andre? They got to sign him still. He's an RFA.
And Radish.
What about Chris Tanev, guys? What about Chris Tanev? Like
There's a free player.
That's an if.
There's a free player.
But if Chris Tanev comes back and plays even remotely like he did before, and yes, he's a year older, but his hockey body is not a year older. It's probably fresher than it's been in a long time. Like, how much better does he make everyone? We saw how great he was the year they won the division. So get him back in the lineup for 75 games. So, I mean, like, yes, there's if much of it's health related.
Yes.
But if those guys play, you got Tanev, you got McCabe, you got Radish. Whatever happens with Riley, you got Ekman, Larson, and Andre. It's different. I mean, 3 different players, right? Radish, Andre, Tanev, already 3 different defenders will play. Maybe 4 if they trade Morgan Riley or do something else.
Yeah.
I mean, they got $20 million. They are not entering the season with $20 million in cap space. Yes, they got to sign some forwards, but there's going to be other players coming. I factor that in when I say, if Austin is a Hart finalist, they will make the playoffs or Hart finalist caliber.
Now we're having a show. Now
we got
grooving.
something going. Now we got. So let me get this straight. Austin chasing a Hart next year, and Kawhi back leading the Raptors. Everything's coming together. I think the Jays are going on a heater starting tonight, and everything is. And Canada's going to smoke South Africa on Sunday. I can't
smoke their asses, man. Yeah. Let's go.
Everything's coming together.
Positive Thursday.
Positive Thursday.
That's it.
McKenna's going to win the Rookie of the Year. Go ahead.
Dog, a week ago you said the Leafs had 0 chances of making the playoffs next year. You literally said that a week ago. You literally said that a week ago. You said, this team is no good. They have 0 chance of making the playoffs. You said that a week ago.
Johnny's an influential guy. Johnny's an influential guy.
That was a long time ago, Noodles.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Apologies. It was a week
Hey, Jim
ago.
Hiller,
Sorry.
we had him on last week. Great guy.
Jim
Good interview.
Jim was
awesome
great.
interview.
I love that.
He's going to do a weekly hit with us. He's going to do a weekly hit with us.
Darren Radish.
Actually, ask Johnny about my question about why the hell are the assistant coaches not talking now? Like, what is going on there? I think it's ridiculous. And we used to have Spotter on. We used to have.
Yeah.
That's not a league thing. That's a Leaf thing.
It's a Leaf mandate.
Right?
Yeah, it's a Leaf mandate. They don't allow assistant coaches.
Or was it a Babcock thing?
No, it was a Shanahan Lou thing.
I think it was a Babcock thing. He did not allow assistant.
True too.
Yeah, he did not want. But he didn't want assistant coaches to kind of relay a message that old Mike Babcock didn't want out there.
Yeah.
But it might have been a Shanny thing. It might have been a Lou thing. But it just
who knows, Jamie? Maybe Bab's wife called him and said, "Don't let the assistant coaches talk." You never know.
I know for a fact that when I was an assistant coach, they would be like, "You got to go out and do media today. You got to go and you got to go talk to the morning, scrum or whatever." Like it was
doesn't happen.
It's ridiculous. That's something that has to change with the Leafs.
I don't anticipate it will. But I'm
guys,
with you.
Even down at the rink, like I'm at the rink every day calling games. Like I only get access to the Leafs assistant coaches when they're walking on and off the ice. Like if I happen to be in the hallway, we cross paths, we have a stop and chat. Like I like nothing. Maybe in the back hallway, they're on the phone call and they hang up and say, "What's up?" Like you get nothing. And you think in Toronto with the media requests just to like spread it around, let the other guys take it on.
Well,
who cares? It's all the same message. Like let's not act like it's it's one way or the other.
They say no to every request though. That's the problem.
Yes.
Their answer is just no one will do anything.
It's ridiculous.
But anyway, we'll see. Things are changing, right? The Leafs are going to the playoffs next year. So now I'm in a good mood. I can't wait. Kawhi Leonard, Gavin McKenna, Matthews chasing the Hart. Leafs are back. I love it. I love the way this is going.
Turn it around tonight.
Yep. Vladdy's going to be on a heater starting this evening. All right, Johnny. Good stuff, buddy. I love the positivity. We'll do it again soon.
All right, fellas. Have a good weekend.
Mike Johnson joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. It's time to Toyota. Check out the Toyota Tacoma and Toyota Tundra pickup trucks, both available as hybrids. Maple Toyota near Canada's Wonderland on the Maple Auto Mall. All right, there's a connection between the United States and Turkey. They are playing this evening, but there was another connection that I have made. I'm going to show you a picture, and you guys will know exactly what I mean the second you see it. All right? Find us on YouTube Live. We're up on TSN 5. You can stream us later after every show on Crave. OverDrive continues, TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.
tomorrow on TSN 1050. Tune in for special NHL draft coverage as your Toronto Maple Leafs have secured the #1 overall pick.
And Matt Sundin is smiling ear to ear.
Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Will they select Gavin McKenna? Find out tomorrow.
The building blocks for Stanley Cup champions are put into place.
On TSN 1050, the Leafs live here. Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, so we know Canada is into the knockout stage of the World Cup, which is historic. A lot of history over the last couple of weeks. But now they're heading down to L.A. Quick turnaround. They play on Sunday, and they're going to play South Africa. And they're a pretty heavy favorite, which I think obviously it worked out. You know, it would have been great if they stayed in Vancouver. But nonetheless, you know, I think they've got a weaker opponent here. That said, they don't have a history of going deep in tournaments, too. So I'm guessing South Africa's thinking, all right, this is okay, too. You know, let's see how the draw plays out. But injuries are going to be a big, big part of what happens on Sunday. Can Davies play? Bombito. They've already lost Kone. Eustachio, is he going to start and play the full 90 minutes? We'll find out as we get closer to that. But the World Cup is continuing. And now we're into the good stuff. Like, there's lots of games every single day, and we're almost into the knockout stage. And tonight, the States, they're off to a great start in the tournament. They are playing Turkey this evening.
Yes.
And
I know what the hell you're talking about.
Yes.
The dude from the last time around with the salad that went sideways.
Landon Donovan is an all-time great American soccer player. Post the pics, the before and after, Joe. Look at this guy.
Oh, my God, dude.
Wow. It's so fitting that they're playing Turkey tonight because I think he was pre-planning a Turkey trip on the pic on the left because that is absurd hair on the left. Like, that's insane.
When he got on his iPad and saw the pic on the left, he immediately Googled Turkey.
Istanbul. Yeah. Istanbul private bird. Because the hair
said,
on the right.
He said, by the next World Cup, I am going to look like a movie star. And that is a full treatment, man. That is a whole new dude.
Yes.
He's all
new
tanned
guy.
up, too. Like the guy on the left, that doesn't even look like him. The guy on the right is like full salad, all tanned up.
You know what it's like on the left. When you have the comb-over bacon strips and it gets windy, you are in massive trouble.
Yeah. Landon Donovan, he honestly looks like $1 million, the pick on the right.
Yeah.
Like, the hair is perfect.
I want the left isolated, please, if we can, because it is that absurd. I can't believe that he, like, I would have, if I was the, like.
Where's the director or the producer?
Is that a bacon strip that's flown over, or what? I don't understand.
I think that's pre-op, dude. I think that's
I would like to think Billy Dodson, Jeff Mott, Sam Cicerello, I've known them long enough. They would pull me aside and say, "We're going to go with a hat tonight.
Yeah.
We got you." No. Like we've got you a USA cap, and it's sponsored. And I would be like, "Is it that bad?" And they would say, "Yes. We can't put you on TV with that salad."
At a minimum, no side profile tonight. Like at a minimum, you are straight in the camera. Like you're not allowed to move. You know, because
I would say to every cameraman, I know some bad people, and if you get me in a side profile shot where my salad is shown like that, I need a front profile only where it looks like I have a full head of hair. Because if you do anything sideways, I'm done.
It's
crazy.
What a recovery. Like, what a salad rebuild,
God.
man.
Do we have any other pics of his new salad? We should have got him on. I don't know if he would have been comfortable talking about that.
Well, he's not hiding it from anybody, right?
Doogie, can you reach out to his people and we can get him on tomorrow to talk about the transformation? Yeah. I would love it.
Like, literally no soccer talk. Make that clear. We don't have to ask a one question about the World Cup. We need to know how that guy
maybe one
did
at
that.
the end.
Maybe can Canada beat South Africa? Maybe. You know, but beyond that, that is a
you explained to
transformation.
Landon Donovan's people we're doing two things. We're putting up the before and after, and we're asking about tell us about this.
Yeah, full breakdown. I need a full Cairo on that. Like, I need a full breakdown, like PowerPoint, because the first haircut is absolutely insulting to people, and the one on the right is so beautiful.
Dude,
like, it's a gorgeous head of hair on the right.
It's not even a haircut, Hayes. That's like balding, fold over, comb over, fold over.
Yes.
Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it's a wild haircut. But yeah, he's feeling it, man. I guess he knew, right? Like at Qatar 4 years ago, he's like, whatever. You know, America's probably not going to do very well here, but we are hosting in 2026, and I am not showing up looking like this because that
look great.
That's hope for the guys, right? Like if the boys out there, they need some inspiration every once in a while. He's got to be an influencer.
He went from the old Cleveland Browns stadium up top to SoFi.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And the swiping, I'm sure, would be out of control. I don't know if he's
I know, but how
guy
would you play that one, Hayes, if you're lying on the couch and your girl is secretly Googling you and she pulls up that pic of the salad and says, was this your hair before?
I guess you just got to be honest.
Be honest. There's pictures of Elon Musk when he was sold PayPal and he had like, the toilet bowl and stuff. Now he's got a glorious set of hair.
You're right.
Like head of hair. Like I think you just be on. I have a buddy who, not Strutty, who has to go to Turkey, but I have a buddy from Edmonton, and he went and got a full salad, and he talks about it all the time. He's like, I wish I would have done it sooner. Like his hair is glorious.
Changes
it's
everything.
Unbelievable.
And honestly, like your girlfriend, wife, whatever, they are the beneficiary of a completely new lifestyle. Like if there's nothing, I don't think there's any downside to it. There's nothing in terms of like feeling self-conscious. You know, that used to be the hair. Guess what it is now?
There's only two options. Like Tiger Woods is getting real close to having to make a decision.
I'm shocked he didn't make a pit stop on the way back from Europe. Like that was the time.
Dude, it would have been perfect. He could have flown in the people from Turkey to Switzerland because no one saw him for 3 months.
Right.
And you said, I want to walk out of here, and when I talk at the Travelers, I want an afro.
Can you imagine? Tiger shows back up, and his hair is flowing in Hartford.
Outrageous.
Like flowing.
He's Joel Embiid hair.
Yes.
Just a poofy afro. I think he would be everyone would be like, oh my God.
What the hell was Tiger doing over there?
Are there some famous salad rebuilds that hit it? Like people always said LeBron kind of might have done something.
He quit.
But then he stopped.
I think he was dabbling with some paints and stuff. I'm not kidding.
Really?
I think he was painting.
Yeah, the Giuliani.
Then he just said piss on it. He went Messier.
Dude, the Rudy Giuliani picture is offensive. Like it is one of the more.
You gotta find it. You gotta find it. He had so much hair dye in his salad. It was leaking black streaks down his face when he was at that presser.
That is tough.
Yeah,
that is tough.
Like that's on him, man. If you just put on a paint job and you're going into the heat, you got to know better.
Dude,
like,
you know that
better.
he applied that himself. That's not professionally done. He has a comb-in product at home, and he doubled down on it and double-dosed it and then went in just scorching heat inside of a building and melted in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I think that was called, like, there's a spray called the GLH. You can, like, spray it on, and it's supposed to, like, thicken your hair.
Volume. You get a little volume out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Someone led him astray. Like, seriously astray. And the AC in whatever building he was in.
Well, he was.
Look at that.
I mean, he
Look
was
at
under
that
the gun.
streak along the side of his face.
Yeah. That's just crazy.
Poor bastard.
Anyway, shout out to Landon Donovan. It looks great, and you should, have don't be bashful, man. Just live your life and go do your thing. It's brilliant.
Hayes, tomorrow's a mail it in Friday. We've got some draft stuff to do. There might be some carryings on with transactions, but in the spirit of our last conversation, it is long overdue. that we fire out a salad rebuild tomorrow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Maybe a hazy B list. Maybe I can put together a 5-pack of, the salad rebuild. Because Eldrick would be high. Eldrick would be on the list.
Unfortunately, I love the guy, but Stevie Stricker's up there too.
Yeah, Strick is, but he's on the Champions Tour now. Like, it's more,
all right.
I'm looking at guys like Landon Donovan still, like, what is he, late 30s, something like that? Man, that hair
Give me a
looks
quick
phenomenal.
5-pack tomorrow.
Okay.
The fans deserve it.
I'll try my hardest.
Brendan Gallagher was heading down that pathway in the playoffs.
Gallagher.
Don't talk. We're not putting him on. He's my boy.
He is.
I love Brendan Gallagher. I love him. I love him. But there was one interaction where his helmet popped off and he was grabbing it from the trainer. And there was
he had an ally afraid. Where did it go moment. Like, where's my helmet?
Yeah. And I saw our boy last night, Big Strud. He's hanging in there.
As he should be.
He's stubborn, though. That's what it is. He's stubborn. He won't go down to the wood.
It's fine.
He just
summertime, man. He's gonna
palm tree on front.
One last summer.
That's what it is.
One last summer for Strud. I understand that.
Yeah.
All right. Best bets coming up, and not as active today in the NHL, but the draft tomorrow. A lot of focus on that, clearly. But I would anticipate some moves coming up. Including possibly a Quinn Hughes extension in July, right? The owner in Minnesota today said it's going to happen. Yeah. All right, let's see. How long is it? What is the dollar amount? Cale Makar is going to get an extension. A lot's going on in the NHL. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 5.
World Rugby Junior World Championship on TSN.
Tomorrow on TSN 1050. Tune in for special NHL draft coverage as your Toronto Maple Leafs have secured the #1 overall pick.
And Matt Sundin is smiling ear to ear.
Coverage starts at 6 p.m. Will they select Gavin McKenna? Find out tomorrow.
The building blocks for Stanley Cup champions are put into place.
On TSN 1050, the Leafs live here. Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. I'm on the U.S. tonight against Turkey for one reason and one reason only.
Yeah?
Landon Donovan. I believe Landon Donovan gets the boys pumped up tonight. The States are at home. They're not paying. It's basically a pick 'em tonight. I mean, not getting. You got to pay a little juice on the States, but I'm on the U.S. to beat Turkey tonight at the World Cup. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays available for every World Cup match on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 18 plus, physically located in Ontario. Some wild stuff going on right now. The Ivory Coast, they're up 2-0. They're through. Ecuador's beaten Germany 2-1. They're in extra time right now.
Crazy.
So Ecuador looks like they're going to get through as well. And Germany was already through prior to the match. But
I have an update on Landon Donovan. And I do not think he went to Turkey for the full process. Joe from the Bridge, if you could put – I think what this is, guys, on the left is original – and I think he went with the Gorilla Glue pelt on top. If you guys know what that's.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a rug.
Do you know what the Gorilla Glue pelt is? It's a strip where they flap it up and they Gorilla Glue the top of your scalp and they fold it back down, and that's your new salad. And I believe that is a Gorilla Glue pelt.
Call it what you want. It is glorious. Like that's a glorious haircut on the right, man.
But that's what I don't
call.
think that's a full procedure.
I
think
agree
that's the pelt.
Yeah, that's something you get like La Jolla, Southern California. That's not the Turkey experience.
So that's a manufactured head of hair that they like glue to his head.
Yeah.
You literally go to a wig shop and you cut the top part off and you glue it to the top of your head. That's what he got, and he did a good job.
Good for him. Good for him. He's an inspiration to us all. Man, I love it. Well, the request is in. We'll see if we can get to the bottom of that.
I can't wait.
Yeah, Landon Donovan. All right. Jays in action tonight. They've lost 2 straight. They lost the series. They blew the game a couple nights ago. Last night it was fundamentals that got them, the offense.
Yeah.
Vladdy's an issue. Springer, it's not going so well for those two in particular. But new series. Rangers in town starting this evening. And the World Cup continuing. Canada taking on South Africa on Sunday. Tomorrow's the draft. We believe Gavin McKenna is going to go first overall. It's going to be a big, big night in terms of the history of the Leafs tomorrow, and I'm sure more trades are coming, both in the NHL, the NBA, signings, et cetera. It's a great time of year. All right, thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, up on YouTube Live on TSN's YouTube channel, and soon to be streaming up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at...
All you execs behave down there in Buffalo. 4 p.m.
We'll check.